range look, but it is the smaller bullet with the colour view technology. So that's 4 new models I wanted to show you. I'm going to go fit one of these AccuSense outside and then we'll show you the setup and how it works and the picture quality itself. It's 20 past 6 here in the morning, freezing cold outside. There's a lot of ice as you'll see shortly. So I'm going to go fit this quickly. We'll come back, we'll see the setup. So I fitted the camera outside. You can see it's very cold. I've had to keep my jacket on and I got a nice warm cup of coffee here. So I've web browsed into the camera. You can see there's the model number. So it's the new 2686G2. I had to update the firmware. There is only one firmware above it, and that is the latest firmware. And it's part of a new firmware under the G3 range for any of you that want to go and look for it. So it's an 8 megapixel, 2.8 to 12mm varifocal bullet. Same size, same base plate as the previous 2 line. So it's a nice easy swap for me outside. So I've updated from an older 3 meg to this lovely 4K camera. So first thing, system settings. There's the model and firmware version. You all asked me for that, so hopefully that's fulfilled that. A big tick in that box. Next one along, metadata settings. So I've always tick it and click save. This is more for you if you're using the ISAP and SDK protocols for third-party applications, but I always tick it by default anyway. Other than that, maintenance menu, turning the enable IR light on and off is on by default, but obviously you can turn that off if required. The other menus, very, very familiar to you. So I'll just quickly skip through these. Other than that, and it's got the platform access, Height Connect if you need it. You can change it to Height Connect, enable it, etc. Video audio, I set it to 8 megapixel at 15 frames a second with H.265 on. I rarely use H.265 plus. For me personally, it causes more issues than it fixes, so I just stick to the H.265. The audio, you can set the audio inputs. You can put a microphone into there. Region of interest and the display info on stream, etc. Next, down into the image settings. So it is an 8 megapixel AccuSense powered by Darkfighter. So under the image settings, I've left it as normal, and you've got all the image parameters you can adjust specifically for your scene as you need. I forced it into day mode. We've got external light in here, so I forced this into permanent day mode, and you can adjust the settings as application requires. And you've got the image parameter switch. You can set times or scheduled switch. So between one time and one time, it links different scene parameters to it. So under normal, and then I can link period 2 would be backlit. So nighttime is one set of parameters, daytime is another set of parameters. So you can do that within the web menu. We found that really helpful with other customers. So hopefully you'll make use of that. So it is the AccuSense model. So under event, we have the basic events, motion, video tampering, alarm input, alarm output, exception. We've also got the audible alarm output. This model doesn't have the built-in speaker or the flashing light. That's not that model. What it does have is an audio output. So you can connect the speaker to the audio output and then select one of the messages, default messages, how many times it rings, well, announces that, the volume of it, and when that's active, and you can link a smart event to that. So that really does require you to connect that into a PA system or a powered horn, etc., which we can sell you. Next one is smart event. This is where you have the VCA function, so scene change detection, intrusion, line crossing, region entrance, and region exited. So I'm going to focus on intrusion and line crossing. I've already set those up. I've actually added this model to an AccuSense, an IDS deep learning NVR, the 16S model with the false alarm reduction technology. When I set the parameters through this, so if I go straight to the IDS NVR, so just to show you, that's the IDS NVR there. So I'm going to go down to event and then smart event. Now, I could, in theory, turn on the IDS technology in this NVR. I've got overhead in there, so I could effectively turn the IDS technology on to work for me. It is this one here. So I could turn that on. I could enable local smart analysis, enable that. That would ignore any other intrusion or line crossing events from the camera itself, and it would only be processed on the NVR. Some people have this common misbelief that if they use AccuSense or a 7-line camera with the higher grade analytics in there and turn the VCA monitoring on in the IDS NVR, that you're going to get like a double knock effect. So it's going to really be very, very good at false alarm immunity. That just doesn't happen. If you turn the enable smart analysis function on, it ignores anything from the camera and it does it on the GPU. That's why we're able to do like RTSP and OnVIF streams into our recorder and do it via the onboard GPU. So I wouldn't waste your money if you're going to use one of this technology. Obviously, you can put AccuSense in like I have, but you can just use the AccuSense technology that's built into the camera and do not enable it on the NVR. So intrusion detection, I've enabled that. So I'm going to draw a new area. So I want to know if anyone comes within my compound here. Let's clear the area actually. So if anyone comes in my compound here, let's make that a little bit better. There we are. Stop drawing that. I'm interested in human and vehicles. There's a car park, so of course there's going to be vehicles in there and humans. The threshold time is how long do they have to be in this area before the alarm triggers. So to reduce the amount of false alarms, potential false alarms, let's put this up to 5 seconds and the sensitivity default to 50. So click apply. Arming schedule is 24/7. Linkage method. If I want to, I can send email, notify surveillance center, full screen monitoring or audible warning, trigger alarm output and then trigger the appropriate camera. By default, that one is selected. Go back to here. Now I can draw maximum and minimum object sizes to further enhance the VCA properties or the analysis in there. So for instance, that's my truck there. So I say maximum size, anything that's bigger than that. So that could be like Arctic size. But minimum size, if I know that's the size of my truck in the distance and the furthest point, let's draw it a little bit little. So that'd be like a bird, rabbit, fox, etc. wildlife, light reflections off puddles. All those will sort of try to be eliminated, not only by the onboard VCA, but obviously by the fact that I've drawn minimum and maximum object sizes. So I'll click save on that. Again, with line crossing, same principle. I've enabled line crossing, but disabled the smart analysis on the recorder. So I've drawn my line across here. Anyone that comes into these parking bays, human or vehicle, 50%. I can change the direction of the line, but I'm happy with that. Click save. And I've got up to 4 lines and 4 intrusion detection boxes I can draw. Because it's the AccuSense higher grade analytics, I can do 4 and 4 again. Arming schedule 24/7, and then I can link the appropriate linkage action. So that's all I really need to do within the NVR itself. Go back to the camera. So if I click on live view, so I can see 7:30 in the morning. You can see all the lights are still on. It is very, very cold outside. There's ice still on the front of my vehicle and all the other vehicles that are behind me. That's my detection area, and that's my blue line there. Really, really good 8 megapixel image. I'm really, really pleased on that. What I can actually do is go into configuration and go to local and turn that off. So I can turn rules and pause information off and click save. Go back to live view and that will be disappeared. Another handy function in the latest firmware. So there you go, nice and clean. On the tab right hand side I can click general. And then from the web browser, the front end, without having to go to configuration, I can actually start adjusting the parameters straight from here. It makes it really quick and easy to do from the front end, and they'll save from there. And I've also got the PTZ function, so I can zoom in, zoom out, and focus, etc. as required. Another neat little function is this pixel counter. So if you're interested in the Dory values, so you want to know like detection, observation, recognition, identification, for pixel density, I can click on pixel counter, draw a box around my vehicle, and then it will tell you height 3, height 6, width 3. Let's do that again. Again, width 894, height 398. And as you adjust it, that will update as well. Do it again. For instance, if there was a lamppost by there, height 696, width 166. So it makes it easy to sort of get that pixel information directly from the image. Don't know if any of you are going to use it, but I found it handy, certainly for certain applications. But the image quality is paramount for me. I think that's absolutely stunning image quality. That is my truck. If I use the digital zoom, so I'm not going to use the optical zoom because I could optically zoom into there and clearly read my number plate. But if I draw a box around there, you can see I've digitally zoomed in and I can still clearly identify my number plate, and then come out of there and go back to there. Because it's an 8 megapixel image, you do get that quality on digital zoom. We got a nice little birdie sat up on the lamppost there, waiting for his dinner or his breakfast. Other than that, I can change the substream, plugins, etc., audio, and then aspect ratio. Live view, playback, picture, and configuration, you know. I'm going to go outside. Let me just turn on back to the parameters, the rules, pause information. Yes. I'm going to go outside and stand in that box so you can see it pick me up and then alarm. Okay, so I've set up another intrusion line here. So anyone that comes into the building here, an intrusion line there, and obviously the VCA box there. You can see as people are coming into the car park, these are starting to trigger. We should have enough movement here. The VCA intrusion box has already triggered. But you can see you do get issues with like reflections, like reflections off bodywork. So whilst it is definitely better than the standard analytics, it isn't quite as good as the IDS, and that's an important thing to remember. So there we go. A human walked into this intrusion box and triggered it. And again with that one. So you can see there how the analytic works. Intrusion box 2 intrusion lines working really, really well. But again, we can go into that, adjust the areas, because you can have up to 4 lines, 4 boxes, adjust the parameters, the thresholds, sensitivities, human or vehicle detection. And from there, you can really get some stable analytics compared to the standard product. Hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions, please ask us. Other than that, have a great week, and we'll see you next week for another how-to video.